Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. And we got really three things to talk about. One is Bitcoin, what's going on with it right now. And then also we do have a little gap in the Bitcoin futures as well. So okay, go back down to that price. We'll take a look at it. We'll also take a look at the miners versus Bitcoin last week, see which ones did better than Bitcoin. And then we'll also take a look at obviously the miners that are being shorted. Has that come down from last time or has it actually gone up? We'll look at all those metrics there for the miners and compare it a little bit to how the miners have performed here in the last couple of weeks as well. Okay, so pretty good video here out. And then as always, you know, this is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. So I would appreciate it if you did hit the like button. Helps YouTube algorithm, okay? All right, so let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick here. And Bitcoin right now is down a little bit here. It's down 1.63%, down $681 roughly. It's at 41,561 right now. And we're still kind of in this, I think it's an accumulation phase, but we might be coming back down a little bit more. And this is what I wanted to point out to you guys here really quick on the BTC futures side of things. So this is the CME futures. We do have a gap here between 39,200 roughly and 40,500. Now, gaps tend to usually get filled up, not always, but typically they get filled up. We saw it back over here where we had a gap. We came back down, filled that, then we went back up. We had gaps over here as well. Those got filled out pretty quickly here, but we had gaps before where they needed to get filled. So something to watch in the next coming days, weeks, you know, through the end of this year, which was only like, what, 2-3 weeks or something like that. We may come down and retest those and fill those gaps in before we continue going up higher, which might not be a bad thing. If you look at Bitcoin right now, and we look at the RSI on it, we can see that the RSI has been coming down on the daily, which is nice. And if we fill those gaps, we might be even down more on the RSI. So that might give us a little bit more room to the upside going forward into the new year, especially as we get close to possibly having the Bitcoin spot ETF being approved in January. I think that would be good as well. Okay, so just something to be mindful of. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying there is a possibility that it might happen. Okay, so that's it for that. We'll take a look at, obviously, the miners, see how they did. Well, how they do tomorrow when the markets reopen. Right now, we don't have any data on that, so we'll leave it at this, okay? So next one is going to be here on the shorted shares. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the performance of the miners versus Bitcoin for this week in the next section. Okay, so I pulled this data in from my app that I use, Webull, and Webull's pretty good at this. They provide the short interest days to cover, and this is where I'm getting all the information from, so you guys are aware of that. And some of the miners have not been like Bitfarms here. For some reason, Bitfarms doesn't show any short interest as of, well, this would be as of September 15th was the last time that this was reported for them. So a little curious on that. Don't know why that's being not shown up in there. Another one that's kind of old here is, I think, Stronghold, if I'm not mistaken. Another one, yeah, Stronghold also doesn't report, has nothing to report ever since 9/15 as well. That's a little odd there. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that's a little bit old data there on those two guys. Okay, for other ones like Cores and DMG, we just don't have any data on them at all. So you guys are aware of that as well. Okay, so let's get back to this. So the first chart that we see here is the current number of shares shorted. So, and then we'll compare the percentage of shorted shares against the shares that are out there right now in the markets. But you can see here, Hut 8 is right now being shorted at about 22.7 million shares. Marathon being shorted the most here at 50 million shares right now. Riot is probably number 2 spot being shorted the most at 35.8 million shares. BitDigital 12.4, TeraWolf with 28.2. That's the third one most being shorted here, along with Hut 8 being the 4th spot. Then you got CleanSpark at 15 million shares. Stronghold at, well, this is old data, so this is going back a couple months. That was only 633,000. Hive 4.7 million, Cypher 11.8 million, Iris 2.1 million, Bitfarms is old data as well, 7.4 million, Sphere 138,000, BitDeer 848,000, Mawson 50,000, DigiHost 53, Argo 57, and Core and DMG. We don't have any data on them. Okay, now percentage of shares shortage. Right now, it looks like Hut 8 is being shorted the most, and theirs is missing one of the charts here, so the latest one, which was 1130. So that one's missing just one. And that could be because they obviously just went over to, they merged with USBTC, and they got a new ticker for it as well. So that could be the reason for it. We'll see if we get updates going forward from that one. Okay, sorry, I had to take a sip of water. Marathon here is number 2 spot being shorted the most. percentage-wise, 22.4%. And we got Riot, number 3 spot, 17.35. BitDigital, 13.67. TeraWolf, 11.8. So those are the top 5 shorted stocks here. And then when we look at the values for all these, you can see the rest of the numbers here, how much those are being shorted here. But going to look at the share shorted value versus market cap. So we're looking at the number of shares shorted plus the stock price right now, which was on Friday, multiplying it, and we're getting the amount that's actually being shorted here, comparing it to their market cap. So you can see here, Hut 8 has 239 million worth of shares shorted compared to the market cap of 929 million. Marathon, 915 million shares shorted value-wise compared to their 4 billion in market cap. Riot, 559 compared to their 3.2 billion in market cap. BitDigital, 39 million. TeraWolf, 50 million. CleanSpark, 160 million. And you can see the list going down here. The important part here down here is the difference from last time. So we're seeing a lot more of the shares being shorted decreasing. So in this chart, we can actually see that here with Hut 8. The prior time it was at 3, the difference between prior time and now is a decrease of 3.2 million shares. Marathon's a decrease of 3.9 million shares. I still don't understand why anybody's shorting Marathon and that much too. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. Riot down 2.4 million. BitDigital down 600,000. TeraWolf down 44,000. CleanSpark down 1.7 million shares. Stronghold, that's old data. Hive down 311,000. Cypher up just 2,000. Iris up 158. Bitfarms is old data. That was 1.2 million at that point. That was an increase, but that's going back 3 months, so that's not recent data. Sphere, 93,000. BitDeer down 66. Mawson down 67. DigiHost down 12. Argo down 15,000 shares. So we're seeing a trend here where the miners have been, the shorts on them has been decreasing, which is nice to see because we are also seeing increases in their value here in the last couple of weeks. We'll take a look at that here shortly when we look at the performance of the miners compared to Bitcoin for the last week. And then here's the data that I have for all this stuff so you guys can kind of see how that's all working out. We tracked shares outstanding, stock price, market cap, previous, which we're looking at the previous numbers here, which are the month prior to it or the last time it was reported. And these seem to get reported like every 15 days or something like that. So we're going by that, and I'm tracking this as well. And the current, so we're looking at those two comparisons there. And maybe at the end of this year, we'll take a look to see where things, if we can go back that far. I don't know if we can even go back that far to the beginning of the year with the data that's being provided, which I don't think it is. Take a look at Hut 8. I think the farthest we go back now is, well, actually, we do go quite a ways. Okay, so maybe we'll pull that data in as well, and we'll take a look at it, see where they were, where they came to right now. Maybe I'll pull that data in. We'll see. Okay, that's kind of what I'm doing, kind of what I'm looking at, and that obviously helps to see if there is a trend happening right now where we're seeing the shorts being shorted less, basically, on the share side of things. And then is that why we're seeing the stock prices of some of these companies go up as well? Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's take a look at the weekly numbers here. And then you'll see, obviously, on the 1 week, 4 week, 8 week time, and 12 week time frames, how the miners have performed here. So looking at the weekly performance here for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners, the green bars are how far the miners are up from their 52-week lows. So basically looking out a year in the past. The red bars are how far away the miners are from their 52-week highs. So some of these have already reached their 52-week highs here. Bitfarms, CleanSpark, I think Marathon also reached their 52-week high here recently as well, along with Bitcoin, right? They're all basically running off of new 52-week highs. Everybody else is still lagging behind here so far. All right, but core is still up nicely, 1,600%. The reason for that, it was obviously when they announced going into bankruptcy, the stock went down to like 4 cents. It's up much higher now, and that's the reason for that. Bitfarms is a surprise here, obviously. Came up 689 so far this year. It's had a huge run up ever since they reported they're getting to 17 exahash potentially by the end of next year. Cypher, 580%, also a good percentage up there. CleanSpark, 511. BitDigital, 503. Iris, 489. Marathon, 488. Argo, 450%. Riot, 380. DigiHost, 358. And then we got TeraWolf, DMG, BitDeer, Mawson, Hive, Hut 8. Bitcoin is up for the year 155%, and then Sphere 3D is only up 148%. So a lot of these miners have performed like we would kind of expect them to perform as a leverage play on Bitcoin. Some have not. Some are also in trouble here. That could be the reason why. But that's kind of what we would expect to see, if not even better results than this, right? We kind of want to see Bitcoin goes up 2x. We want to see the miners go up at least 3, 4, 5x on top of that. But the same is true when Bitcoin does go down. The miners do the same thing. They go down multiple digits as well. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking there. If we look at the weekly performance here on this chart here, and hopefully I have this all set up. There we go. Okay, so this is on the 1 week. We can see here that last week, BitDeer definitely had a great week. It was up 26%. Bitfarms was up 14.6%. Argo up 11.29. Marathon up 9%. Iris up 3.26. And then we got CleanSpark up 2.9. Hut 8 up 2.4. DMG up just 0.67. Core up 0.57. And then let's see here. Riot, and then these were all down here. Riot, Moss, and Terrorwolf, DigiHost. Bitcoin was down also, and I track Bitcoin from Friday to Friday, so it's not the same as the weekly calendar for Bitcoin, which is Sunday to Sunday, okay? Sphere 3D, Bit Digital, Cypher, and Hive definitely underperformed Bitcoin there. So we do have quite a few miners that did do better than Bitcoin did last week. Now when we look at the 4-week chart here, you can see a different story here. You can see that Bitfarms is up huge, 177% here, followed by Mawson being up 114%. I think Mawson was just a possibly, I wouldn't say a fluke. I mean, there's really no good news for them other than I think there was some news coming out. I'll have to look back into it. I can't remember now, but there's so many miners that I track, it's just kind of hard to keep it all together. But there really isn't any good news for Mawson to be up 114% from 4 weeks ago. I think it was just some people looking for, miners that were beaten down, way in the dumps. That could be an easy pump up, and that's kind of what we're kind of seeing with them, along with Sphere 3D. But you got CleanSpark up 90%, Marathon's up 60%, Argo 75%, BitDeer up 82%, Iris up 70% as well. So those have done obviously better than Bitcoin. Bitcoin in that time frame is only up 11.16% here. So a lot of miners have done better than Bitcoin. Some have not, like Hut 8, DMG here. Cypher's obviously down from there. DigiHost is down. So we got a lot of miners that are up beyond what Bitcoin is, and then some that are actually down from it. Then looking at the 8 weeks chart here, we can see that Bitfarms is up 170% from there. CleanSpark up 156%. Then you got Marathon up 106%. BitDeer up 108%. Argo 75%. Iris up 87%. Let's see here. Burst Bitcoin right now is up 23% from 8 weeks ago. And you have quite a few miners that are up beyond that. The ones that have lagged it are DMG, Hut 8, Core, DigiHost, probably Cypher, and Hive's slightly above it. So quite a few, now what is that, 5-6 miners that are below it, and the rest are above it. So that's not too bad. Okay, and then finally looking at the 12 weeks chart here. This is kind of interesting here as well. From 12 weeks ago, you got BitDeer down 18%, Bitfarms up 177%, CleanSpark up 179%, Marathon's up 115%, Mawson up 114%, Argo up 107%. And then you got Bitcoin's up 55% from 12 weeks ago. And then you got all these miners here that have done worse. We got Hut, DMG, Core, who else? TerraWolf, DigiHost, Sphere 3D, Bit Digital, Cypher, and Hive have all underperformed Bitcoin from 12 weeks ago. All right, so it's kind of interesting to take a look at it. And like I said, as we're seeing the actual short number or short interest decrease on the miners, we're seeing the miners do better going forward. So if we look at the numbers here on some of these that are bigger here, let's take a look at Marathon. Marathon was going up from, let's take a look at here, from basically the beginning of September. So they were at 51 million shares shorted, then 52, 50, 52, 53, 53, and then we came down here to 50. So it has been coming down. It's been kind of up and down, but it has been coming down for some of these here. Same for Riot. It was increasing, and now it's decreasing. We're kind of seeing that pattern evolve as well. So kind of interesting to take a look at it. So like I said, this was going to be pretty short and sweet. Going down here, let's see here. This week we're seeing obviously a little bit more red here on the weekly than we have in the past. If we look at it, here we had definitely more red on the miners side of things. Last week we were pretty good. We only had a couple red. And the prior weeks we had more green, but we're having a little bit of a break, I think. A little breather in the space, which is always pretty good to have every once in a while. You don't want to be continuing to go up, and up, and up, and up until you blow a circuit. So I think this is fine. No worries there. We'll see what happens, obviously, this week. We're heading into the holidays. Things are going to get maybe a little bit more stagnated in Bitcoin price. We could come down, like I said before, to that 39,000, 40,000 mark to get that spread covered. But we'll see, okay? So that is it. I'll leave it at that. The spreadsheet will be available to my Patreon members here later on tonight. We'll get that updated for them as well. That's still only $5 a month. And the link for that is down in the description below. So if you guys want to join them, I would appreciate it. And if you buy the yearly subscription, it's 10% off. So you get all these updates whenever I update them, which is typically a couple times a week. So if you bought coffee a couple times a week, you're actually getting more value out of this. All right, that's my sales pitch. So we'll leave it at that. I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday evening, and we'll see what happens later on this week. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. All right, have a good one. Bye.